Because Kali Ma and Bhairav Baba are very strongly linked. So when you are worshipping Mahakali as a Mahavidya, okay, so her consort is Mahakal Bhairav. What that means is that without the blessings of Bhairava, you will never understand Kali fully. It is impossible. I mean, you can have कि I worship Mahakali and I have bhakti and वो सब ठीक है अपने जगह पे, that's fine. But the reason why the Bhairavas are given is that you must imbibe the tattva of that Bhairava to understand. Dakshina Kali is one form of Kali. It's a very fierce form. In the ancient times also there is an iconography, a very, very powerful iconography. See if you can find it. It's next one, yes.
That is it.
That is a modern painting by somebody.
Damn.
Shankar Sreshta is the painter. I think the name is written there. So this is a modern painting of Kali, Dakshina Kali. A very ancient dhyana of Mahakali. As per the dhyana it is made. So here, you will notice very interestingly at the base, there are 4 figures. Those 4 are Ishwaras. We worship Ishwara, right? As the all-potent, and these are Ishwara Dattas. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Ishwara. All 4. Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra and Ishwara. 4 of them are there. They hold the whole structure together.
Brahma, Vishnu,
Rudra. All the 3 Trimurtis. And the 4th one is Ishwara, it's called. Basically, Ishwara is a tattva. The level of Ishwara. Whatever you conceive as an Ishwara is somebody who is very high, right? A god in
all encompassing.
Right.
Okay.
So in the Shakta conception, there are 36 tattvas. In these, they say that Ishwara is also a tattva. Very high category, but it is a category. And that can be, so Brahma is also a Ishwara, Rudra is also Ishwara, Vishnu is also an Ishwara, and there is a generic Ishwara also there. 4 of them. On top of that, there is Sadashiva. Okay. Which is like our Lord Shiva, Sadashiva. On top of that is Mahakal Bhairav, blue in color, dark. On top of that is Dakshina Kali. And this is form of Kali is so powerful and ferocious. She's called Dakshina because Dakshina is the southern direction. Yama and death comes from that direction. Yama gets scared looking at her. Death gets scared seeing this and runs away.
Can you zoom in?
In fact, there are more iconographic details, secrets in this. Everything in this has a meaning. It is not randomly designed by anybody. This painting actually is quite more or less accurate as per the dhyana of Dakshina Kali.
How come at this point in human history does Dakshina Kali even want to be revealed to the world in a commercial mainstream podcast like this?
I have no idea. Wait, it's already there on the internet, so that's why I could show you.
No one would Google Dakshina Kali themselves unless they know about it.
So I don't know, but what I feel is there has been, which I had mentioned once during when we were discussing Tantra in the other podcasts. So what has happened is in the last 30-40 years, because of the internet and the easy access to information, very esoteric ideas of Tantra are already out in the public. Okay, so what, not only out in the public, but there are people sitting in various universities across the world, they're doing research and all that. Some once in a while, if I read those papers, I like the fact that they bring out old and rare manuscripts, translate them. I don't agree with their conclusions though. I find there is a strong Western bias in whatever they look at. Western bias. So there is an Indian way of looking at it. There's an Upasaka's way of looking at it. So they're not looking at the Upasaka's way. So their rendition of the slokas and everything is correct. The final conclusion is incorrect.
For example?
Some text I was reading on Tantra by some Western scholar. Leave the name aside. Let's just say Western scholar. So he had very well written essay, very, very robust with lot of examples and slokas and this and that. And then he keeps a line, enters that. So Tantra was more like a kind of a revolutionary path that was against the mainstream Brahminism, and it wanted to kind of, strike back at the Brahminical ideas, things like that. I disagree with this conclusion. So it is true that the mainstream, first of all, the term Brahminism is highly politically loaded. Let's avoid that. Let's say mainstream Sanatan Dharma, Vedic religion. The Vedic religions, Paddhatis and Tantra Paddhatis are different. I agree to that. Kolo Tantras are definitely different. Then there is not just different, it's like either you're here or you're there. If you try to walk both the paths, eventually you'll fall at one point, or you will never progress. Your mind has to be schizophrenic eventually. Because these, to give an example, in the Kola Paddhati, we use ritually sanctified alcohol. But in the mainstream Vedic religion, alcohol is strictly banned. If you take even a drop, you have to do prayaschitta. That's as strict as that. Meat is still okay. Fish is still okay. But alcohol, no. Nobody. And the higher the Varna, which is a Brahmin taking alcohol, is even greater sin. They're very clear about it. So whereas Tantra, if you go to the Kolo mark, you not only have to offer it to the deities, okay, with mantras and all that specifically, not just randomly. But even then, it did not start as a revolt and a revolution or as a social work project or some kind of a social revolution. No. Why? That is because they are saying when you are doing the mantra sadhana, say of Ma Kali, you're doing sadhana, you're doing japa, etc., etc. At the end of the day, at the last step, you'll have to do Brahmin Bhojan, which means you have to feed Brahmins. So if they're against Brahmins or if they're against somebody, why would they tell you to feed Brahmins at the end? The reason is Tantra did not start as some kind of social work. That is the bias that people carry sometimes, many scholars from the West. So because of what, everybody has their own biases, by the way. It's human to have biases. You've grown up in an environment, it'll always be there. Which makes me slightly skeptical, not fully, but slightly skeptical of anybody who has taken to Hinduism after the age of 18. Because there are certain inherent biases that will be there. It's not that easy to remove all those things.